percentage of audience who are from jewelry background, and others might be wondering how jewelry online retail is going to be relevant to them. So I would like to begin with a couple of polls. I would like to ask how many people are associated with the jewelry industry, either as a retailer, brand, or service provider. So I see a couple of hands, 8 to 10 people. Now, my following question is, how many people have bought online any product? So that's majority. That's very good to see. And now I would like to ask how many people have bought jewelry online? Costume jewelry. Yeah, that's 4 or 5 people. And my final question, how many people are wearing jewelry? Still good percentage. So that's basically we wanted to draw. Jewelry, I'll give a quick insight about the industry and try to connect relevance with most of you so that you see why jewelry online retail is so interesting. Uh, in India, jewelry is the third biggest retail category after grocery, apparel, and jewelry. It is 4.5% of the entire retail industry, which is about $500 billion industry. And it is also the third biggest jewelry market in the world. It is the biggest consumer of gold in the world. 20% of gold consumption worldwide happens in India. And it's also a very fast growing market, 15% growth for the industry. And it's largely unorganized. There are 3 lakh plus goldsmiths, independent jewelers. Organized retailers or branded jewelry is very small, about 5% I would say. And the branded jewelry is growing at 50 to 60%. So to put in perspective, the sector itself is growing very fast, 50 to 60%. And if we combine this with online retail, as we see for other sectors which are growing at relatively smaller pace, but online is growing faster, there's a huge, huge opportunity for online retail. So although there is no published data on the size of jewelry retail in online retail in India, if I have to take a guess, out of $1.6 billion total online retail, jewelry could be just a few percentage, so like $40-50 million to $70-80 million. In US, online industry is around $220 billion, and jewelry is good $4 billion market. So there's a huge percentage of people who are buying jewelry online in the US. And India, that's what the topic. You will see each expert unveiling how they are able to see jewelry online, interesting incidents of how jewelry they have sold online and what challenges they are facing. So with this, I would like to let Amit initiate some of the challenges in the industry. And
so, I'll give you a little bit of my background. I'm actually living in New York right now, and I've been there for 28 years. And we sell jewelry online in America for the last 7 years. While researching India, I've been actually researching in this event as well. We find a lot of challenges that have been put forward to me. Some of the challenges, I'll just give you an idea of what I feel, and I'm actually looking to start an e-tailing in jewelry in India. The first challenge that I feel is to define and find that customer that is usually already unki aadat hai ki, you know, they're always going to be going to their neighborhood jeweler. They're going to touch and feel the product. They're going to go back home, think about it, and call them and say, ki aap please deliver to me, and then they give the money right there. That's the average transaction that Indians usually, that I have seen. My grandmother's been buying and my mom's buying. Everyone, whoever's bought, does a transaction of jewelry like this in India, as far as I can see. But we want to figure out that feel, that trust that they have in their neighborhood jeweler. How could we actually do it online? The second problem that I see so far is shipping and logistics behind it. The satisfaction, are they going to get the same satisfaction as buying from online, getting that picture, and then transforming it when they are delivered to you? And second of all, when they're delivered, is someone signing for the package? That logistics is what I feel there's one of the challenges. The third challenge that I see is, you know, the payment options. Over here, you know, some of the bigger guys online like Flipkart and everyone has introduced a brand new thing that doesn't really exist in America, which is COD. There's no such thing. There is such a thing there, but no one utilizes. Everyone's very happy with paying on credit card and just getting a product delivered at home. They don't have any hesitation over here. People don't want to open their pocketbooks and give out a debit card number or anything. It's mostly COD, which in jewelry it's a very problematic thing, keeping in mind that the values are much higher than apparel or any other vertical that you can think of. One of the other problems that I also feel is photography, where in India, the current population, over 70% access the internet through their phones, their mobile phones. So just imagine, there's already a problem of buying jewelry with a big 14-inch, 15-inch screen. Now you're looking at that same option on buying it through the mobile phone. That's one of the biggest problems that I feel of Indian jewelry selling online. And lastly, I would say is technology. Most of the people in India, whoever are jewelers or want to be in the jewelry space, are not technologically savvy at the moment. And this is one of the larger problems, and I think the solutions are there, and some of the people here will talk about their solutions. For example, Richa, who runs an online shop in India and sells worldwide as well. So she'll go ahead and start with some of the solutions to some of these challenges that I feel are currently existing. Richa?
I totally associate with all the challenges that you've highlighted. 21 Diamonds is a global jewelry brand, and we sell in 18 countries. And India is the biggest challenge in terms of building the trust online. Getting consumer trust is very difficult, and to do that, we're taking multiple steps. So even though COD is an option which is difficult for our category, but we are offering COD. We offer lifetime exchange. We offer 30-day no questions asked return to overcome the touch and feel barrier. And we've developed a technology which where you can see the product video. So shoot is the problem where people can see the product from every angle. And it's very important to build the trust online. So, but having highlighted these challenges, there is opportunity also there. So there is a lot of transition that is happening from offline to online. Tanishq is running a campaign to gift your wife on the 10th anniversary, where this guy goes and proposes his wife, and he asks, "Do you still love me?" And she says yes, and he gives her a ring. We actually had a customer last week who bought a solitaire ring worth 4 lakhs online, and we delivered it at the dinner table. He was treating her to dinner at the Trident Hotel, and he said, "I want it to be delivered at that point in time." And that's the level of trust he had with us, that he did a very high purchase. So even though there are challenges, we are overcoming it, and by offering features like cash on delivery, lifetime exchange, certification, GIA certification, IGI certification for diamond, BIS hallmarking for gold, we are overcoming this barrier.
I'm going to also bring Deepak into this conversation. Gitanjali Gifts was launched online, Deepak, approximately 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
September 2011, so almost a year and a half.
Gitanjali Gifts, we don't know where it stands, but it's one of the larger players of online jewelry. So some of these challenges, Deepak, how have you actually solved or come around or innovated into these challenges? How can you solve them?
We actually circled out of Gitanjali Gifts. That's just one portal through which we are promoting all our brands. But the strategy that we took, before that, let me mention what exactly is the biggest challenge for us. Jewelry is the highest, one of the highest ASP category, by which I mean we in our business see 10,000 to 20,000 average selling product online. In offline, it's about 30 to 35,000. And overall e-commerce industry in India, I believe the average selling price across categories hovers about 1,000 to 2,000. So there's a high selling price. So you might feel that, okay, you might spend a little bit more to acquire a customer, but you will end up making more by selling a high price product. But really, when we try to sell products online, we didn't see this happening. Reason being, in overall across category, the conversion rate, I believe, is around 1%, 2% to 3% for some cases. But in jewelry, is way below 0.5%. So it's a very high price product and the conversion rate is low. So even if you spend so much on getting traffic, conversion is the biggest challenge. So we try to spend on our own website and get more business, but we saw there's a limitation to how much traffic you can draw. Whereas at the same time, if you look outside your own website, there's Mintras of the world, Jabong, Flipkart, eBay. All of these websites do have existing traffic. So why limit your business to your own website, and why not partner with all of them and encash on the existing traffic they have? So we replicated our offline strategy. Gitanjali, for those who are aware, we are a mines to market company, and we sell products from our own website to franchisee stores to shopping shops like Shoppers Stop and Pantaloons, to distribution, independent jewelers, lakhs of jewelers all over India. Same thing we are trying to replicate. We are selling through our own website, which is a brand website. There's a multi-brand website, which is gitanjaligifts.com. And now we're selling through all the marketplaces. And the latest we attempted was to sell through e-franchisee, which is a assisted selling model. Because as you see, there's a 10% population of India who has access to internet. There's a 90% population which doesn't have access to internet. So the idea was, how do we reach to them with online as a medium? And that's where we have appointed more than 50 e-franchisees in India so far, who in their network or through their own independent websites or stores are able to engage people through our internet, which they have access to, and conduct transactions.
I'm also going to bring in Vijay into this conversation. Vijay, you're the CEO of Aura, who has 35 retail, actual physical stores throughout India of jewelry. And you just mentioned to me while we were having a conversation that you're about to go online in 2 months. Now, can you go into the details of what you think the market is and what you feel the challenges will be, and have you thought about some of the solutions of that?
Yeah, I think I'm the only person here who doesn't have an e-commerce site yet. If you look at this category, I think trust is very, very critical. To acquire customers on a physical store with the physical product is very, very difficult. Multiply this with the audience. I believe currently it's more male-dominated on the e-commerce site, wanting to go onto the website, liking a product, not knowing what the size would be, would it fit the ring, so you're limiting the kind of products you're doing, and then getting the consumer to actually buy that product. Okay, so that's on one side of the issue of how do you build the trust and how do you get the consumer to buy. Second is, in the absence of trust, the pricing becomes very, opaque. So how do you compare one piece of jewelry versus the other? And e-commerce is currently in India is largely driven by the price module. So I go to a website, I check what the price would be online or with other people, get the best deal, hope for the best fulfillment, and get that done. So pricing is very, very important. So our belief in this space is like, unlike most of the other categories, you would actually see the business growing at the two ends, which is at the bottom end, which is the gifting market, where people would want to come and buy, the below 10, 15,000 product. And the other is at the extreme high end, where we believe the average unit price or the average selling price would be, north of 75,000 to a lakh, which is really the solitaire market. Because that's a very standardized product. You can compare and you can, pick it up from online or a retail store. What we believe the best way perhaps to do it, and this also comes out from research we've been doing for the last year, is that a large number of people are actually going online, doing their homework, and then actually coming to the physical store. Either it is for jewelry or it's for a solitaire. And we're really looking at a strategy where we would mix both. So if a consumer wanted fulfillment with the piece of jewelry actually going to his house, that would be available. Should they want to actually walk into a store, pay online and walk into a store, inspect the good and take it, they would do that. So we are actually looking at a click and mortar. And we've gone through this process that should we build a new channel which is not linked with Aura, or should we do it with Aura? And our point of view was that since Aura has created the trust, how do we go online without compromising any of the values, whether it's premiumness, the experience, the pricing, and still make it work for us?
That brings to a point where I'm going to put a question forward to everyone here, is how important is it to have a physical presence along with an online presence for jewelry? Since everyone, especially in my background, always goes to a physical jeweler to check out, and he's mentioning that Aura is doing something similar, is it a very important thing to have? And if yes, should online jewelers also consider opening shops, or should they actually just continue to sell online? And some of these people that I'll put forward to question is back to Vijay on this.
I would answer that, but I think who would be a great person to answer that is probably Rajiv bhai. He's been in the space for the longest time. I think he started 15 years back. So he's the oldest e-commerce jeweler, perhaps a vertical in the country. So I think he'd be the best person to give us a perspective on that.
Good afternoon, friends. We sell jewelry only online. We do not have any physical shop at all. Neither we intend to have. The reason is that online space is a very technology-savvy space. To understand what ticks, what make customer buy, and why should customer buy. If we are able to answer that question, then our business is successful. Our model is in-house designing, in-house manufacturing, B2C website on our own site, and a multi-channel approach while selling through all the various websites and marketplaces. The primary factor to be successful in this area is to create a goodwill of a customer. And that comes by good product, good pricing, good customer service, and a brand equity which you need to create. The brand equity you may not be able to create just by banner advertisements or a Google AdWords. But the performance which is built up over the years, people see you at the right places at the right time, whenever they are searching online, then the trust is created. This is how the business will operate.
Deepak, you can also comment on this.
I guess Amit asked a very interesting question that whether online players should also have an offline presence, or is there a hybrid model better viable? From an offline company which has moved online, I would like to share our experience. We see there's a distinct advantage of having offline presence as well as online. The number one being capital investment into your inventory. If you see most of the other e-commerce experts talking about, the single most thing they focus is when an order is placed, they don't want to run out of stock. So a lot of these e-commerce companies who started in India started actually blocking stock to ensure 100% fulfillment. That is not the issue for us, because if you already have an offline presence, you have inventory, you don't need to duplicate inventory for e-commerce. So that's one big advantage you have being offline. The other one I would say is Gitanjali has 4,000 touch points, retail points all over India. So there's a connect with the customer which is already there. So you can ride on a legacy benefit that the customer is already engaged with your brand. There's a little bit more amount of trust than a pure offline player who is trying from scratch and building a brand. So I think those are the two big advantages.
Richa, what do you think about this also?
So I actually won't disagree with Deepak. Obviously, it builds brand equity when you're present offline and online. But we're doing it across 18 countries and we're doing it only online. As long as you offer the price, the selection and the convenience to the customer, and going back to Rajiv's point where you're building your brand equity, where it's just not about the ads that you're showing online, but it's end-to-end from the customer service to the quality of the product that you're providing. You don't have to be investing in an offline store. There is very high addictiveness in the product that we all are trying to sell. So I'll give you another example that happened with us. A boy bought a ring for his girlfriend, and because we have very high QC control in our office, so once at the manufacturer, then at the certification level, and then in our office, it was rejected and sent back to the manufacturer, which meant that we could not meet the 2-week delivery timeline. And we called and apologized to the customer that we cannot deliver it on time, and we'll return your money, and if you could wait for a week, we'll also offer you a discount. He got very agitated. He said, cancel my order. I don't want it. He was very agitated. And 4 hours later, he called back. He said, cancel my cancelled order because my girlfriend is really upset and she really wants that design. So that's the level of addictiveness that we see in the product. And we don't really have to be offline to be selling jewelry. However, we keep on working a lot on technology to overcome that touch and feel barrier. We're working on augmented reality where you can see how jewelry looks on you when you come on our website. So that's what we are trying to do.
So the key take, what I get from this conversation so far, is that both models can work. For Deepak, it's working a little bit differently. For Vijay, it's also going to try to work in a little differently. And for both of these people, that's also working just to be online.
Just one point I would like to derive from what Richa said. It's interesting that we have a mix of panel, pure play, online players as well as offline players already went into online, player offline who is wanting to get into online. And we also have Sanjeev, who is providing full technology service to online players. I believe the perspective is if you are an offline retailer, it is advantage for you to go online. You don't lose anything because to share a fact, out of every 10 customer care calls that we get, 6 calls are, do you have a store in my city? So there's a lot of customers who call us. Not everyone is willing to buy online. So we are able to divert a lot of these customers to our existing stores. So there's a synergy between online and offline. So for offline players, it does make sense to go online. But obviously, it doesn't necessarily mean that an online player has to go offline. I think that's...
One of the other challenges that I mentioned to you is technology. And technologically, someone to go online today requires a website, has to know how to market stuff, has to know how to take photography, has to have a pretty good setup. And I'm going to refer to Mr. Sanjeev here to talk about some of the technological stuff that's available to online people who are looking to go online.
Well, I'd also like to comment on the earlier conversation about online or offline. And I think in today's consumer's mind, there really is no fixed model of online or offline. And it is a world which is, it's a term I'm sure you've been hearing a lot, omni-channel, multi-channel. A consumer today will use a service on a browser on a laptop, will move on to a mobile browser, and then from there go to a mobile application, will go into a store to buy something, will go online to further make a decision or make a purchase. So there really is no rule today that says you do it one way or the other. It is your ability to be able to reach the consumer in every single way possible. And fortunately, technology today allows you to do that. When we look at technology, and most of us are here looking at it from the Indian context, it is very natural for us to look at the similar business and verticals in other industries. But trust me, India is a very different market. Our consumer is very different. Our landmass is very different. A client of ours the other day was telling me, saying, look at America. Look at the landmass of America and compare it to the population, and look at the per square mile number of jewelry stores in America. Compare that to India. In America, it is difficult for people to go over to the jewelry store to buy what they're looking for. Distances, travel, work, timings, etc. Where in India, you got a jewelry store in every single corner. So when you look at going online, there is still a huge opportunity. Merchandising, to begin with, firstly, as Amit was just mentioning, is content. You really need to be able to get your content in place. Most of the companies, retailers or aspirant e-com companies find it difficult to put that basic content in place. Right kind of imagery, both for the browser on the laptop versus on the mobile, being able to put the right kind of descriptions, putting the right kind of story. This is a jewelry that you're selling. You've got to be able to explain what it's all about and what the inspiration for that jewelry has been. And then take that forward to a right choice of technology that will allow you to go omni-channel. You may want to start with going only on the browser today, or you may want to go only on a website today, but you need to be able to choose technology that will allow you to integrate it with your backend as you grow, that will allow you to stream it to multi-channels and to other websites, that will allow you to build a mobile application and put it on there. And really the last of the points that I have there is when you look at a strategy of going online, People often make the mistake of really calculating their return on investment by how much did they sell online year 1, year 2, year 3, and is it making money for them. If you are a physical and a brick and mortar store, remember that a customer has 3 major key steps in the decision making. First one is discovery. And that discovery can happen walking through the mall and walking into multiple stores, or it can happen online, Google. And then would be comparison, the ability to compare different designs, different prices, guarantees, returns, etc. And then will be the purchase. So a lot of your calculated ROI for discovery and for the comparison may happen online, but the sale may happen in the store. So it depends on the kind of model that you're taking, but of course, the ability to put a technology that will allow you to do all this is really critical today.
Now, is that available to the normal jeweler that has very little understanding of even a computer today?
Well, I'm sorry, I disagree with that, because I think Indians by and large are extremely tech savvy. And I see the smallest of jewelry stores, and we have some customers who are they're fairly humble, 300, 400 square feet customers. Everyone has got a laptop at home or at the office. They have a son or someone who's looking at it. They all have mobile phones, they understand. They've all pretty much gone and put their inventory management on some kind of an application, even to the extent of that they're on USB so they can pull it out in case of any legal challenges that we are so familiar with in this country. So they are pretty tech savvy, but what they do not know in general is what does it entail. And when you start talking about putting the content together, you talk about getting the right imaging, the description of goods, and I think Gitanjali's done a fantastic job there, and Vijay is well on his way to doing the same, is when you put all that together, that is your capital, and that's where you begin, and they don't know how to really go about doing that. But they're very quick to understand technology, they're very quick to understand the benefits, they're very quick to, they all read a lot, they know what the success stories in the world are. And as we saw successes of Carrot Lane and etc., everybody wanted to be a Carrot Lane or wants to be still a Carrot Lane. So people are pretty quick to understand. It's the nuances and the step-by-step process of going online which is a challenge, and I'm sure Rajiv Bhai will have something to add to that as well.
Making a website is the first step. You may spend a couple of lakhs of rupees on making a website, but you need to understand technology yourself, so that you cannot be fooled by the technology provider, which is very important for us to work successfully in India. You must, there are so many good type of cameras available, you can be your own photographer. Because hiring a photographer to photograph your product is an expensive process. If you learn the photography yourself, then the costing is very different. Having spent X amount of money to make a site, you must be in a position to spend a certain amount on a continuing year to update the site as the marketplace or customers demand. That is a very, very crucial part of it. It's not that having made the site, why I am not getting a customer. You spend X amount on the site, spend a certain percentage on a regular year in year on developing and managing technological improvisation on the site, and maybe multiple times of the amount we have spent on creating a site, you must be ready to spend on marketing and awareness of your site. Because if you don't spend on marketing, nobody is come to you. Out of every 100 people who comes to your site, one guy ends up marketing, buying, and for the profit of that sale, you need to reinvest back into your system. That circuit, if you are able to manage well, then the entire business is very successful commercially without any requirement of even venture funding.
May I just add to that is, when I was talking about the landmass of India and the number of stores available next to you, I think one of the key successes of going online is your merchandising. If you're going to be selling the same thing online that your customer can go around the corner and buy, and it's easy and available, chances are the customer will go around the corner to buy it. So if you understand your target audience well, and if you develop merchandise, if you look at, I think Tanishq has done a great job with the office-going women's jewelry. So if you look at the demographics of the country and you find different kinds of jewelry, in America they have a very wide range. Some aren't really socially correct to talk about on this platform, but it depends on who you're addressing.
One of the questions that I had when I started my solitaire in America was to whether should we only sell on mysolitaire.com or should we go to different marketplaces like eBay and Amazon and the Jabongs of the world over here. Deepak has already mentioned that their company is listed on every single pretty much channel that's available in India today. However, as a brand, and I think Aura can Vijay can maybe comment on that, as a brand, is it a good idea even to go with all of these channels, or should you only sell on your own website?
Absolutely. I think this is very interesting, and I'm going to take again the online and offline perspective. I think most of you are from India and you're familiar with Shoppers Stop. So if you walk into a Shoppers Stop, you'll go and buy a Levi's jeans very comfortably. Shoppers Stop becomes a destination. Levi's jeans is something you're familiar with. Similar is the case with toothpaste. You'd buy a Colgate toothpaste from a large departmental store. You'd buy the Colgate toothpaste from a small place just next to you, Kirana store next to you. The reason for that is the underlying brand is extremely strong and you're familiar with Colgate as a brand. If I was to get the same toothpaste under a different name which you're not familiar with, even at a discount, would you buy it? And the answer is probably no. And I think this entire multi-channel distribution point is really based on is that how familiar are you with the brand? Does the brand have an underlying value for me to be pulled to that, or am I selling a commodity? So I think if you look at the space, it is whether are you selling a brand or are you selling a commodity. If it's a commodity-driven process or it's a low price point, then I think a multi-channel distribution could perhaps do extremely well because the person is seeking value and there's a comparison parameter for him. But would Aura do it? And the answer is no. I think there's a positioning which Aura has. And for us to control the environment in which it is sold on multiple channels is something which we can't control. And therefore, I think it really depends on how you're looking to sell this.
And Richa, what do you think about this? Since you also sell, I assume, on every channel that's available as well, what do you comment on this?
So in my opinion, I think I agree with Mr. Amit that you have to keep your brand proposition in mind, and we are reaching out to different marketplaces because we want more access points. So while we are selling 21 Diamonds jewelry on our portal, we are also selling it on Jabong. And once we started doing it, we started seeing increased customers on our website as well as on Jabong. And the traffic that we were getting on both the portals was different. And what we do well is that we maintain the same customer service and the experience even though when we are selling through different portals. So even if a customer has bought from Jabong, we offer him the same service as we offer when he buys from 21 Diamonds. And that's where I think we maintain the brand proposition.
Can I just ask one question? If you're selling on a multi-channel distribution point, who does the customer belong to? Do you own the customer or does the platform own the customer?
We have both the options. So certain times we do drop shipment where we own the customer, and at certain times, say for example, Jabong is doing the fulfillment, they own the customer. But if they have a query, it comes back to us and we actually resolve it. And we offer the same services. After sales service is very important for our brand. We get a lot of issues with ring sizes, even though we take care of that. And even if a customer has bought through Jabong and the ring size is not fitting him, we will service that request. They have the flexibility to come back to us.
So if Jabong theoretically was to replace the vendor with another vendor, and assuming that pricing and it's a commodity-driven product,
right?
Could Jabong theoretically do that? Could they replace you or another vendor? Let's say I'm selling gold coins. I'm selling a 10-gram gold coin on Jabong.
Right.
Okay. One is when the consumer comes and buys on the platform, does the customer belong to you? Do you have his details and everything, or you don't? That's question number one.
Right.
And question number two is, could Jabong theoretically replace you with somebody else, assuming the value proposition is same from the customer's point of view?
Okay, we do have access to the customer because we're doing the fulfillment in some cases. So we have access to that. And second part, when you're talking about gold coins, probably yes, Jabong can replace because it's very standard. It's a gold round shape, 10-gram gold coin, very standard. But our product is very unique. So we are selling global designs, European collection that no other vendor can replicate. We're selling Indian heritage collection, which is like the products that you see at Tanishq, but you still can't replicate. Replicating jewelry is very difficult because you have to be precise in the caratage of the diamond, in the gold weight, in the cut, shape, polish. So it's not so easy to actually replace the vendor.
Unfortunately, we're short of time, so I'm going to take this time to wrap up the session and just go around. And I want everyone to give their insight onto what they feel the Indian market is heading towards and how important it is for everyone to get on right now instead of wait and get on a little bit later. I'll start with here.
Selling jewelry online is a very good business as long as you offer a value for money proposition to the Indian customers. He will buy from you and he will make money.
Richa.
I agree with Rajiv. There are three things that you need to satisfy when you're selling jewelry online. One is the price. Customer is very price sensitive, so you have to offer a good value. The second is selection. Retail store is limited by 100, 200, 300 designs, but on a website we show 10,000 designs. So if you offer a wide selection and convenience and a good customer service, there is a huge potential in the market, and we are already seeing very high value transactions that are happening on our site that increase the value proposition.
Sanjeev.
Well, there's a huge opportunity ahead. Look at mobility. There are far more customers of yours on the mobile platform than on what we perceive internet typically to be. So look at that as adding as part of your strategy. Look at merchandising, which is going to be unique. So besides value, I think the Indian customer is also looking for something different, something hatke. So you need to be able to offer them a variety that they will not find nearby. And then thirdly and lastly, I think a great return and a dispute settlement policy that will build trust for your brand.
Vijay?
I am definitely hugely excited about this opportunity. I think one of the largest advantage of this is the ability to scale. And the issue of profitable scale, and we didn't get enough time on technology. But if you integrate your system, for us, working capital is one of the largest costs. And if you integrate your front end with your back end, you have a 5 to 7% saving on just interest cost. And my sense is that the e-commerce would account for between 15 to 20% of our overall sales in the next 3 years. So I'm really, really excited.
Well, I agree with you, Vijay, that online has a tremendous potential for this jewelry category, especially for three reasons. One, it's a very capital-intensive category. The investment in a typical store is north of 1 crore. And we being in the Gitanjali being in the branded jewelry category, there's a limitation to the regions or the remote corners that you can reach. With online, you can definitely reach out to far more remote geographies and scale your business. And B, I see, as I said before, being offline player, if you go online, there's tremendous synergy in terms of having customers who are now net savvy first interact with your products online and then probably come to online. And third, last point I would say is multi-channel retail. I agree with Vijay's point that brands need to be sensitive about how the brands are treated in other channels that they're putting, whether other channels would be able to replace them with a new brand or a new product. But I see there's a huge potential in terms of capitalizing on the traffic that all these new bigger websites have, and being a brand, you must list there and encash on that opportunity.
Fortunately, we're out of time, so thank you for attending this session.
A big thank you to the speakers and the moderators.